Okay.
There, okay, great. The meeting is being live streamed, so we're on Facebook. Thank you, Julia. Thanks everybody for your patience this evening as we're getting things going. As you can see, I'm challenged by, I can't get my desktop, my laptop computer to make the video tonight of my face, but thankfully you can see my desktop that's being filmed through my phone so that you'll be able to see our projects tonight and we'll be able to work along together. So my name is Missy Shipman. I've had the great privilege and pleasure of partnering with the library for 15 years, once a month with a in-person class. And then over this COVID time, we've been playing with some virtual events. And so we've got a virtual event tonight, the second Thursday of each month, at 7 o'clock. And so welcome to those of you here live with Zoom and live on Facebook, or to those of you who are catching the replay on Facebook or on YouTube. And then we're also back to business with some in-person classes. So I'm going to start with a quick commercial for tomorrow's class. We will be using a wonderful kit called Simply Citrus. It makes 15 cards that are wonderful for spring and summertime greetings. There's lots of positive messages. They're bright colors, and all the supplies are included to make 15 cards, 3 each of 5 different designs. You'll go home with a decorative box that has the stamp set, the ink that you need, and the clear block, as well as your completed projects. Now, of course, if you've already created this kit, or if you have another interest, I will have a variety of other paper pumpkin kits that you can select from. But this one is a wonderful value. It retails at $35, and you receive it for your $20 supply fee tomorrow. And that supply fee covers the kit that you get to take home, as well as my instruction in the morning. So hopefully you can join me for our class tomorrow, Friday at 10 a.m. Tonight, we're going to make 3 different projects with the supplies that were in your complimentary kit that you picked up at the library. If you're joining me live and you'd like to stamp along with me, that's fun. Or you can just sit back and enjoy the instruction and the fellowship tonight. Remember, when you're watching a replay, you can pause, you can rewind, replay, so that you can catch up. And that sometimes takes the pressure off from feeling that you need to keep up with my pace. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. Well, thank you for your patience. Boy, the more we do the Zooms, you'd think it would be an easier time, but my equipment tonight is a little faulty. So here we are. There we are, friends. Okay, so we're going to start with a project in honor of Ukraine and in honor of National Hope Month. It was first observed in 1991 in the United States. They observed April as a National Hope Month to spread peace and hope in the United States as well as around the world. And Stampin' Up! Has a paper pumpkin kit that was introduced last year called the Hope Kit. And so we're going to be using the stamps from this kit. And I do have more of those, and there's a special promotion going on this month with the Hope Kit. So if you're interested in that, let me know. But I'll be using a stamp from that set that it has some wonderful greetings. Always hope, because you never know what tomorrow will bring. Just a note of hope, and some messages about faith. Where there is faith, miracles happen, and some lovely butterflies as well as floral images. So to make this one, you're going to find in your paper bag, find the one that's an envelope, white envelope like this that has a piece sticking out the top. Pull those things out.
Mary, were you saying something?
I was going to say, I think I already bought that kit from her.
Oh,
yes,
nice
you've
one.
already had Hope, Mary. That's right. It's a wonderful one. And I've had it offered at the library a few times. So I know you've made some beautiful cards with it. It's a great set to share hope and just joy and sunshine. And during uncertain times and during the times of the pandemic, it's been so nice to be able to share cards, share a card is a hug with a fold in the middle, right? You're sending a hug in the mail with paper. So remember our story. A generous donor to the library gave a lot of stamping supplies a few years ago. And one of the treasures was a few boxes of envelopes, but the humidity and the moisture had caused them to be sealed. So they're still have great value to me and to us as crafters. So what I did was simply slice that side. And now we have a pocket like this, which can be used to hold your supplies. And we're going to transform it into this little tea bag holder tonight. So let me show you what it looks like when we open it up. We can decorate inside with some designer paper and some stamping. And then that sliced open spot is where that tea bag can go in and out. And this is called a belly band when you wrap the paper around, which will just hold that bag in place so your tea bag won't fall out. This, of course, would work for a gift card or a check or cash as well. We know how nice it is and convenient it is to give gift cards with lots of holidays coming up, graduations, Mother's Day, Father's Day. But when you package it with a little bit of personality, then that's a especially nice gift. So you don't really have to use a ruler, but if you have one handy, what I've done is I've measured out about 2 inches. Actually it's a little bit large, almost 2.5 inches from the side that's closed up. Okay, so I'm going to fold over. Let me just see, about 2.5 inches would be right about here. I'm going to fold that over, and that's going to give me a little piece on the outside here. Now I want the part that has the envelope sign, the envelope flap showing, that can be on the inside because we're going to cover that with some paper. So I'll go ahead again. You don't have to have it exact. You just want to make sure that it's wider than the tea bag. You're opening here. You want to make sure it's wider than the tea bag, so it's kind of hidden as a treasure inside. Okay. So I'm going to score that, crease that fold with my bone folder, or you could use the back of a spoon is a good way to create a nice crease. So we've got the beginnings of our book here. And like I said, I want the kind of messy part, the part with the flaps showing, to be on the inside of my project. Okay, so let's do our stamping next. We have the greeting that's called Just a Note of Hope. Now your stamps, you have a variety of stamps and ink in your kit, and you might have an ink pad that's our older style ink pad. And I like to remind you how to open this because it's a little bit tricky. Where the 3 dots are, that's where you're going to push. Going to kind of a snap, and then you're going to flip the ink pad and slide it. Okay, I'll do that again. To close it up, you're going to slide, flip, and then snap. So where those 3 dots are, push, and then flip, and then slide. Okay. So our newer style pads from Stampin' Up, they open a little bit differently. And I don't think any of these are in your kit, but you pull it up and slide it. And what's nice about both of these designs is that when it's closed, the ink surface is upside down. And that means that the ink will stay refreshed at the top of the pad. It will be ready for you to use. So I'm going to ink up, you might have a greeting that will fit in this little tailor tag punch, or you might write a message or make a monogram if it's for your mom. My mom's name is Bonnie, so I love to give her things with a capital B. You could write a monogram on there. You could decide, but I'm going to go ahead and use the stamp from that wonderful Hope kit, Just a Note of Hope. And you'll see on my sample, I've got a little bit of blue polka dot above and below. And to do that, I just take my punched tag and we're going to cut it in half, right down the middle here. And if you want to have your sunflowers show, you can, or you can have that contrasting misty moonlight blue color, which I'm going to have tonight. So I'm so glad you're tuning in. It's a busy holiday weekend. My son is home from college, my son Matt. It's delightful to have him around. and do the laundry and enjoy time for Easter this weekend together before he heads back on Monday. There we are. Now I'm moving a little too quickly, so I've got some fingerprints on there. But what I like to say is that's an extra personalized greeting. It has my own fingerprints right on there, so extra special.
I just have
Okay,
a
the
quick
other
question
stamping
for
is on
you.
the inside of the packet.
Okay,
I'm just placing a little butterfly here. So I'll go ahead and stamp that as well. This little butterfly is in that Hope kit.
on the
There we
white
go.
sheet of paper, right?
Say that again for me.
You're stamping on the white sheet of paper?
The white paper, yes. So the white paper we're going to add to this envelope, but because the envelope has some chunky layers here, we want to stamp first and then assemble the pieces.
Right, and
Okay.
the strip, wait, I'm confused
Yep,
about
we-
where the
We've
other,
got a blue strip, a narrow blue strip that we'll glue to this side of the white panel.
okay.
Okay, I'll do that now too. Excuse me. So last month when we were together, that was my last night of before having COVID officially. The following day, actually the Saturday morning after, is when I tested positive for COVID, and it's been a long month. Thankfully, my friend Cheryl was able to lead the class, the in-person class at the library, because I was quite sick. The first few days of my illness were I was pretty sick, but then I've just been very tired and had a lingering cough. So I don't know. My son thinks pretty much by now, almost everybody's probably had COVID. Maybe they didn't even know they did, but I am thankful to have some renewed energy in the last few days.
So my double thing that you put the first stamp on,
Yep.
they're the same size. Did you trim that down or?
Yes, you're going to cut it in half. I'll show you what it looks like on the back. So you want to
Oh, okay.
cut that, and then it can stretch, and you can have it be across the top and across the bottom.
I missed that. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay. I was talking about my fingerprints too. That probably distracted you.
You did great helping with the Easter eggs too. That was a lot
Oh,
of fun.
I had such a good time, Mary, and I was glad you were there as well. Anna is such a talented artist and such a delight. It was an afternoon well spent. I really enjoyed
Absolutely,
learning
and
along with
I
everyone.
enjoyed a class at Canton Woods with Cheryl too.
Oh,
After
great.
meeting her last month, I found out about that. I was sad though that there was only one other person there.
Yeah, so spread the word to friends. That's how we get started usually in our groups, whether it's in community buildings or senior centers or libraries or coffee shops. It's kind of just putting it out there and giving it a try. And sometimes you have 2 or 3 people, and then people bring friends and neighbors. So spread the word. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Well, you've got a lot of extra people coming tomorrow that
Oh, you're bringing along more. Terrific.
yes, absolutely.
Very good. I'm looking forward to it too. So now for the inside, we're going to put some of the sunflower and daisy paper. Of course, you can, when you have kits like this, you can mix and match the papers the way that you would like to. And that's why some people wait and do their projects after watching the video so they can kind of personalize things. I'm going to add this layer to the inside of my little tea pouch and also to the outside. Like that.
These papers are so pretty on both sides.
I know, it's lovely. That's a funny thing we laugh about with our papers is sometimes it's hard to put glue on one side and cover it up, but in this case you get to see both sides of the paper. Okay, now to make the little belly band, I'm going to go ahead and slide my tea inside, because when you make a belly band for a card or a package, you don't want it to be too tight because you want it to be able to slide on and off. Let me show you with a sample one here. I want it to be snug so that it doesn't just fall off, right? When I can shake it and it's not just going to fall off, but I want it to be snug enough, but also loose enough that I can slide it on and off, okay? So let's now take this white strip. This is a pretty cardstock that came from the library supplies. It's got a confetti little speckles in it. I love it very much. I think we've used all of that, Julia. I'll have to check, but
Okay.
we still have a lot of fun papers to share. I found some mulberry paper, which is kind of a handmade, almost like
Oh,
a
I
rice
love those.
paper. And so hopefully I'll be able to incorporate that soon into a class. So I'm going to take the strip and put it behind my pouch and then fold over. And the reason I'm doing it folding over to the front is because my tag will now cover up this seam. Okay, so as you do it, remember you want it to be snug, but not too tight. And then you'll use some adhesive to secure that. What I like to do is if I'm overlapping something is I put a little bit of glue at each end. And that way this will catch part and this will catch part, but it won't put glue in the wrong place because of course we don't want this belly band to stick to the project. We want to be able to slide it. And then if you're using glue like the multi-purpose glue, you just need to give a little patient press to help the papers bond with that glue. You might be using more like a tape runner kind of glue. I'm still a fan of our fast fuse. Our current adhesive is called Seal Plus or Seal. I still love the fast fuse adhesive, and that's a quicker dry. But an advantage to working with the liquid glue is it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of time to kind of line something up if it's not quite straight. So then lastly, we're going to put that label on the front. And I'm going to use some dimensionals, some of our foam pop-up stickers. And I don't, you'll notice the tailored tag is higher than this strip. Here's on the sample, I can show you. So I don't want my adhesives to be over at the ends because I want this part to be able to move. So let's just go ahead and put a couple across the middle here, 1, 2, and 3, like this. Peel off the wax liner and place that. So I'm sorry you can't see my smile tonight, but I love seeing yours and I'm glad you're here with us. Hopefully when my son gets home tonight, he can maybe take a look at the computer with me and help me figure out somehow how I'm not allowing my camera to show the picture somehow. Okay, so now I have 2 tea packets. You'll have one ready to share with a friend. And it's a nice project. You can write your greeting inside here. And it's also a nice project they could reuse. They could, you enjoy the tea and then they could package something inside. When I make little gift pouches, I try to be clever so that you don't have to tear it to get inside. Like if you're giving a little bit of candy or treat to someone, if they can untie a bow or slip off a belly band, then they can use that project, reuse that project, regift it if they would like to, instead of having to tear it open. Children though, little kids like to tear things and that's okay. So I just have to, your audience, right? And plan that way. So let's set aside that Just of Hope one. Our next project is going to use the kit that has the pink paper sticking out, okay? So for this envelope, I sliced just the top of or bottom of the envelope, so it would be kind of a pouch. And this is a way you can gift little candies or tea. Again is always my favorite thing to gift, but I want to show you, we've made these before as a, it's called a bagalope, where you turn a flat envelope into a little bag. So I want to show you that, and then we're going to make a card. So the card won't fit back inside here, but we're going to make a bag. And we've done this before, so it might look familiar to you. What I'm going to do is fold in on 3 sides of the bag, the sides that have not been cut, okay? I'm going to just fold in, and I'm going to go in both directions with my bone folder to make that crease really clear. And then I'll go up from the bottom. I'm going about an inch. I'm just eyeballing it. If you want to be more precise, you can go ahead and measure about an inch with your 3 sides of the bag. And this is making, I was thinking of Easter, this is making kind of like a little basket shape that you could put some treats inside. It will stand up nicely on its own. So the 3 sides that are not cut have been folded now. And what we're going to do is create a gusset at the bottom of the bag of the pouch. So I'm sliding my hand inside, and I'm going to, with a little bit of pressure from the inside and pressure from this outside, I'm going to flatten the bottom. And when I do that, you'll see that I'm going to make 2 triangles. It's going to look a little bit like a cat puppet at first. There we go. Do you see how this is the side? And then that triangle will go at the bottom. I'm going to flatten this. It helps if you have your hand on the inside and your fingers on the outside. Because of the sealed envelope, it's a little bit fussy there, but I'm going to fold. See, it's kind of like a cat puppet now, right? With the ears. So it's multi-purpose. And now we're going to fold down those triangles. And that makes a little boxy bag or basket kind of shape that we could put treats inside. And you can reuse envelopes that come in your mail to do this too, because it's okay that they're already sealed. Great, Julia, you've got the little cat, the cat puppet there. And then these 2 guys, you can use Scotch tape to tape them down, or I'm gonna go ahead and use some of my Fast Fuse that's pretty strong adhesive.
You're suggesting we crease the corners of the box as well?
Yes, I kind of reversed it to make it a gusset here.
Okay, got it.
But, or if you want though, you can keep it pretty straight and it will be like a box, or, you can put quite a lot in there. You could seal it up and tie it with a ribbon or punch a hole. I plan tonight just to kind of show how you can take that flat envelope, because since I cut it for you, we couldn't use it in the mail anymore. You couldn't put your card in and send it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to seal down those bottoms. Oops. So I didn't cut pieces for you to do decorations for this tonight. I just wanted to kind of have it as a bonus to remind you how you can turn a flat envelope into a box or a bag. But let's set that aside for a minute and work on the pieces that came out of that, which are these pink and black and white pieces. Now, I know Julia has a cat, at least one cat, and enjoys cats and kittens, and hopefully others of you do too. So you have 2 kitty cats. And what's fun about this punch is it's the silhouette of the cat. So you can make them walking in a parade here, or they can be facing one another. And I punch them out of a strip like this so that you could use this either on another project, or you can use it as a stencil. So you could trace this, or you could sponge ink inside if you wanted to use it as a stencil, or it can be simply added to another project as a layer. But I'm going to set that in the little box too, because we won't be using that for our card right now. Okay. Okay, so let me show you, before you start to glue, I want to show you 2 different layouts. And of course, you might decide to use the supplies differently, but I want to show you 2 ways that I use the supplies to create some cheerful happy birthday cards. This one was my first design, and I liked that it looked kind of like the cat was sitting on a ledge or up on the table, and there's sort of maybe a doily here or a tablecloth. And so that's very simple. And both of these designer papers have bright colors on the back. So again, you could create a much more rainbow look for your wallpaper behind the cat if you wanted to. The other one, what I did was cut this black and white pattern into 2 pieces and just split it across the card so that I would have a landscape oriented card. Again, the same white half circle, the die cut happy birthday, and the cat. So let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and make the one that just involves a little bit of cutting. So you'll see how I did the cutting for this, but you can decide how you'd like to put your card together. Now, and you have an extra cat, so you could put 2 on there if you have 2 cats or you want them to be friendly, or you could put one on the inside of your card. You could put it on your little pouch and make a matching gift set to go with some treats in there for Easter weekend. But let's put the cats away, and I'll show you what I did was just cut this black piece in half. Now, because the pattern is a symmetrical pattern here, that's going to help me make a straight line. So you can use a paper trimmer if you have one, but if you don't, with using your snips, you can just go use the pattern to help you make a straight line. So I'm going to cut right now. Yours,
I'll bet I can make
actually,
this
that
into
I
a
think I got
luminary.
lucky, and mine is right down the middle. Your piece of paper may not be right down the middle, but you can still use it, the shape as a guide. So here in this case, I'm going to go a little bit to the left of that centerpiece to make them straight. I'll show you one other way is you can fold the paper first, fold it in half, and then you'll have a score line to cut down, so it will be cut in half. Lots of options. And if you have a paper trimmer, then you're all set. But if you don't, this is a good way to know that you're cutting in half. And you can slice that like that.
Just a quick note, I was thinking I could make a luminary out of the luminary.
Oh, a luminary would be wonderful.
Put a little candle in it and then, you know, decorate it up.
Yeah, and it would reflect out. That would be a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I know that you can use either little tea light candles, or you can buy those little battery operated luminary ones so that it could sort of be at your desk too, if you liked that. But oh,
Yep.
what a wonderful idea. Okay, so now you'll have one piece that you've cut in half if you choose to do your card layout this way. And I'm going to fold the cardstock. This color is called Flirty Flamingo. I think it's a happy, fun springtime color. We had some lovely weather yesterday and this morning, but spring has certainly needed a little help getting going this year. I always admire the daffodils in front of the library, Julia. They're so marvelous. And then tulips will be coming soon. I think all the red tulips usually come after the daffodils.
In front of the library have just exploded the last couple of days. So
yeah, they're remarkable.
Yeah.
I was at the post office today and I couldn't believe it. I always look forward to that each year. So if you cut the black piece in half, then it mats nicely along the pink piece if you put your white floral piece there. Now you'll notice on mine that I've done some coloring, and I want to show you a couple different things. This is coloring where I just colored the background of the flowers and I left the blossoms white. So it's just a light blue color, but you'll see how different the effect is from being just black and white. So I use some of our markers called blends that are Stampin' Up's alcohol-based markers. And I'll show you on this paper right here as an example. What's nice about them is that the alcohol-based marker, it just oozes right out. It's just a very flowing ink, and you can just be really loose with that to make a watercolor effect. We have some new colors that are coming out in May. They're called the In colors, and they're these vibrant colors. This is a little bookmark. I'll have these for guests who come tomorrow to the library. They are 5 new In colors that will be released in May. And I wanted to show you how the blends are designed. Oh, I dropped my Tahitian Tide. Let me pick that up because I want to show you.
Did
Okay,
you
so
tell
the
them?
blends are designed, they come in a pair with a light and a dark. And again, the colors they're called blends because they just really easily blend and they flow out of the marker very easily. So they have two tips. One is a bullet tip, which is great for writing or for doing more fine coloring. And then we have the broad brush tip, which I use the most often because many of you getting to know me over the years, I'm not a precision stamper. I like the instant gratification. I like the quick crafting and the satisfaction of making it and then giving it away. So I love this bold tip. It just allows me to work very quickly with my color. And what I'm doing is just kind of scribbling in this flower. And then I'm going to take my darker blend color. It's just, these are both the Tahitian tide color, but it's kind of like on the ombre spectrum. This is a little darker. So what I'm going to do is with the bullet tip, I'm just going to color some of the lines that Stampin' Up! Already designed this paper to have these shading in the middle here with these darker colors, darker black. So I'm just going to kind of scribble out on those pieces. And you can see then there's some shading that was really effortless to make those kind of a watercolor effect.
Nice.
So, and then the other thing that I did, this one is just coloring the background and leaving the blossom. So let me show you. To do that, you would just kind of scribble around any of the flower shapes, and it creates that. I think what it does is it helps the blossoms kind of pop forward a little bit more because they have that background. So do any of you have favorite coloring mediums? Do you like colored pencils or markers or working with pastels or crayons?
I like colored pencil.
Colored pencils, yes. They're nice because you can get a lot of shading, right? You can layer the color really nicely with pencils.
And there's a couple
Great.
different mediums you can use with it too, like Gemsol, or there's a blending solution you get from the art store that you can use with colored pencils to make them look like they're painted watercolors.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun. I also enjoy mixed mediums. So combining, markers with the crayons, with a pastel, with cut pieces or things like that. It's fun to
Absolutely,
to experiment.
It is fun doing all of that.
Yeah. So for tonight's card, if I'll assemble it without coloring, and but you can decide on with your supplies at home if you wanted to add color. There's also something really striking about black and white and a color. So black and white with a blue, bright blue background, or in this case, the pink or a red or a green, I think is very elegant and striking. So I'm going to go ahead and use my adhesive to adhere the strips. And remember, you've got a couple options. What was that, Mary?
This black and white paper is gorgeous.
Isn't it lovely? Yes, yes, yes.
Very striking.
This is some of the Hostess paper with Stampin' Up! That will be retiring this month. It's a busy time with Stampin' Up! Because we have a last chance retiring list right now. And then we have a pre-order for new things that are coming in. So I'll be sure to bring some more things to show people tomorrow at the library in person. And then over the next few months in the library, I'll hopefully get to introduce some new products to all of you. So the half circle, you can position wherever you like. I thought it in this card, it almost looks like a light fixture or something coming down from the top. Whereas on this one, it looked more like a tablecloth or a doily runner here. So it's fun to experiment with shapes. And the reason I wanted to add the white was because the black, I wanted it to pop. And if I put it against something with pattern behind it, you can still read it, but it's competing a little bit. So I wanted to give it a place to rest where it would show. You again can use your artist eye to make any variations. And Julia and I love to see the variations of things you make. So you can post them in the comments when this video is on Facebook. You can add in the comments pictures of the things you make. It's really fun for me to see that. Now this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cats side by side here to say happy birthday. So I'm going to use my dimensionals to adhere them. And again, it's just that silhouette of the cat. And this originally was a punch released for Halloween time. But I also love that it can be year round, and you can personalize the cat. In this case, it's already stamped in black, but if you have a calico cat or a ginger cat, you could customize your cat. There we are. So there's some variations for you to inspire you to play. And if you let us know if you enjoy coloring too. Of course, we can't budget right now to have colored pencils in your kit, but it might be something we could do as a borrow part of the kit that's that you return each month. We might be able to add some coloring tools to a kit, like instead of having an ink pad 1 month, for example. So if that sounds fun to you, let me know. And then Julia and I can play around with those ideas. Okay, for our final project tonight, you'll need the envelope that has a whole bunch of treasures inside, all kinds of rainbow pieces. It's a small envelope like this. This is our note card size envelope. And this is large enough to mail. It's, let's see what the measure, I think it's about 3.5 by 5, a little more than 3.5 and a little more than 5. And so this can be mailed in the post office.
Is that the one with all
a
the
regular stamp?
Is that the one
Yep,
with
that's
all the
right, Julia. It's got all kinds of pieces that are tucked in there in that envelope.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do is make a card that was inspired by a fundraiser I hosted last month for Aaron's Angels. And some of the library friends took advantage of that. If you missed out and are still interested, you can find information on my Facebook group, Missy's Glad Heart Studio, or message me through this video, and I'd be happy to give you information about that. But there's a lot of pieces in here, so you're going to have some extras to choose from. But if you want to make the card the way I'm going to make it tonight, I'm going to pull out the pieces that you'll want to gather. Okay, we've got there are a whole bunch of these strips of designer series paper, and you can mix and match the ones that you like. Remember, there's 2 sides to each piece, so there's a lot of choices. But I've selected these 4 for my sample card for you tonight. So if you want to make it just like mine, you're going to pull those out. You'll need your little white cloud and your designer series paper cloud. Now these are a little bit different pattern, but they're all the same color with that blue, and some of them have different little patterns in white. Okay, so this card is, I call it a stack and cut. It's a puzzle kind of card. And you'll see that the 4 pieces will fit, and we can actually cut the more solid colors. We're going to cut them in half. So to make an easy center, I'm going to fold it in half. And in fact, thinking now you could even make this a little bit of an interactive card if you wanted to keep your little flap there and then have some kind of message inside. That might be kind of fun to do. We'll do that. I'm going to fold this blue one. I won't cut them yet because I want to play for just a minute with you. You can give me your feedback, what you think. The top one is going to be covered up by this cloud shape. So that wouldn't really work to do a little flap, but this one would be, and that might be kind of funny to have a little message inside there. What do you think? Should we make it like a little peekaboo?
I think that's a cute idea.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave my blue one as a peekaboo, but the pink one I'm going to cut in half because I need that to be smaller. Okay, then so now it's like a puzzle. you'll see when we position them, there's a nice frame of white all the way around. Excuse me. So I'll use my adhesive to secure them. And again, so many choices with colors. I just included one card base, but you'll be able to use the rainbow pieces in other ways. We might want to add them to our little box envelope that we created. Let's go ahead and make this first, and then we'll play with some of the pieces that are left. So the Aaron's Angels fundraiser cards were similar to this, where you had 4 different pattern designs, and then you put them together like puzzles, just like we're doing today, to create some fun kind of quilt-like cards. Do any of you enjoy quilting, fabric arts? Yes, wonderful. So now to create this little accent with the greeting, I'm going to first trim my "You Make Me Happy When Skies Are Gray." I'm going to trim the edges like a swallowtail. So one way to do this is to cut in from the end, a little snip, and then from each corner go into the middle, snip to that line and snip. So I go from the end, I do a little snip, and then the corner to the center snip, and the corner to the center snip. So that's created a kind of swallowtail or a pennant shape. And we're going to layer these guys up. We'll put some glue on the back of our cloud. And that will put down onto the card. I like to kind of have it where the paper intersects here, to have that be laid on top. Like that. Push that away. And now I'll pop up this little one though with some dimensionals. Place that across. You make me happy when skies are gray. Isn't that fun? So here we have a little pop-up. We could create some kind of other interest. I'm going to come back to that because what I want to show you next is a way to decorate the envelope flap. Okay, let's keep this so you can still see it. But what we have all these little strips. They reminded me of Easter eggs stripes. And so you do have an oval. This was not in the envelope, but it was in your bag. So hopefully you'll find the oval. I made one with the Ukraine colors showing this pattern called a herringbone pattern. And I'm going to teach you how to do the herringbone pattern, but we're going to do it on the envelope flap instead of on the egg right now. So what we'll have to do first is cover the flap with adhesive. Now I'm going to use my Fuse adhesive, and it will be nice and sticky here. I want to cover it because I'm going to be using a collage of strips. And let's just get started. We'll take a rainbow one. I'm going to put it in at an angle. And then I'll take, let's maybe do the polka dots next. And it's going to line right up to it. Okay. And we keep doing that. Let's see if I did that right. Yes. So then this one's going to be here. I'm afraid I didn't demonstrate that as well as I wanted to. It's a little tricky to see how it lines up, but I'm going to keep going for you. Basically, we're creating that intersections, a lot of different papers coming together at different angles. And there's several different strips that you can work with. If you're not worried about it being a specific, a true herringbone, this is a true herringbone pattern where the colors come in and they're each at 90 degrees and it makes a center line.
Oh, I see.
This one may be more of a collage of just pieces coming in at 90-degree angles. Okay, now you'll notice I'm running out of my big strips, but I have all this paper left at the side. So I'm going to take my paper snips and just trim off those extra parts because I'm going to keep using them. This is a fun way to use your scraps. I had a lot of scraps after my fundraiser kits, so that's why I was able to share them with you. So here's another one I can layer. What I'm trying to do is line up so that each piece has intersections. And some were going to come kind of from the left to right and some north to south, if that helps to make sense. And we keep pulling away the extra. So this is a collage. And I thought that would be a fun way to decorate the flap of this card. You, of course, could use a full piece of designer series paper, but when you create cards like this, you'll end up with lots of strips in different sizes and things. And so you may not have pieces as large as you would need to cover the flap, but you can still engage. Here's that leftover pink piece. I could even put that onto my flap. And because we put the adhesive on, covered the flap with adhesive, the whole thing, all those small little pieces are going to stick on there.
Wow.
Does anybody have any questions?
That's amazing.
I do enjoy using leftover pieces, right? Because they still have such a great value. And when we partner them with each other, it's fun. Fun patterns.
Lois on Facebook says that is so creative.
Oh, good. I'm glad that people are enjoying it. I hope it'll be something fun to try at home. You just have to be patient and know that it's not going to be the same. Every time you do it, it's going to be a different look. And if you just keep doing it at those 90 degrees, you'll have this similar effect. Sometimes you're left over with just a tiny little piece in the corner. Let's see how I can best cut this. Hold that here. Just be careful that you don't cut the flap, which is going to fold over to hold your card inside. There. And then there's just this little bit here to trim. Okay. So now I have a patchwork flap for my card, just using little leftover pieces, right? Now let's say we'll pull in these little pieces that are left over. And I didn't do the measuring on here, but I'm wondering if when you make your box, you might enjoy piecing together some of these, squares on here. And also in that little kit of extra supplies are some pennants, some little pennant flags. So they're nice for greetings. You can add them to your little box if you like. Sometimes it's fun for me to just add some little extra goodies to you for you to play with at home. And again, this is where Julia and I really enjoy seeing what you do with these extra pieces. Or you might have a piece left over from last month's kit, or something that you found in your own craft supply. I had a fun conversation with Chris at the egg decorating class on Sunday. She had said that she found some fun magazine images to fussy cut and add to a card that she was creating for her son. So be aware for the junk mail that comes, right? The advertisements, and you can do a lot with paper. And sometimes you just need a little strip of red. And if you go through a magazine, you might be able to find just the right shade or shape that you're looking for. Okay, so before we say goodnight tonight, I want to show you just a couple more things you can do with some of these scrap pieces. So we made this was a new idea tonight, to just make a little peekaboo card. And I'm thinking what might be fun to put in there is just one of these little tiny rainbows. Or maybe a few of them. So I'm going to fussy cut a couple of the little spots here. And this little tiny piece can go on here like that. Okay. Peekaboo. And then maybe you could
Stamp a
you've
message.
got the banners. You could cut a piece of white if you wanted to have a spot to do some stamping or writing like that. But that's just kind of a fun idea tonight we had because we were folding the paper to create a little card. And you have the envelope that we made. So then for your egg, when I was little, we used to dye eggs and we would plan it, you would dip it so that there'd be different stripes, right? Did any of you do that where you'd?
Oh, yes, we definitely
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah, so you'd put it in one side and one end and then the other, and then so there'd be a crossover of color in the middle. So
Yep.
when I was putting these papers together for you, I was kind of thinking that same idea where you would create different stripes. So again, you're going to just cover the egg with some adhesive. This time I'll just cover it with the liquid glue. Something nice about this applicator, if I can find my top to it, let's see. I don't know where that is. The other end of it is a kind of like a rubber cement applicator. I'm older than many of you, but we used to have the rubber cement at school. It was an adhesive we used, and it had this type of plastic applicator. And what you can do with that is just spread the glue nicely. So once you have the whole piece covered with the adhesive, then you're ready to lay down the different strips and stripes. So you can start in the middle, you can start wherever. I like this rainbow piece and I kind of want that to be a focus. So I'm going to put that across the middle. I love
think I'm
these
about
hearts, but this is kind of wide. So I'm going to trim a little piece.
the same age, and sometimes we refer to it as mucilage.
Yes, mucilage. Yes. That was what the rubber cement
Yep.
container was. It was like a little bit amber colored, wasn't it? Do you remember?
Yes,
Like
it was. I do remember that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
then some polka dots.
And for the eggs, we would write with a white crayon on the egg.
Yes.
And then dye it.
Yes.
Or you could do a color, write it on it with a white crayon and then dye it in a different color.
We
Yeah.
always use crayons. You're right.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun to remember those traditions. Okay. So now we've just taken little scrap pieces, but because we started with that egg shape, we can now have a fun little accent. I'm going to trim around the egg. Another way to do this, which I didn't learn about until after I prepped the kits, is to give you the negative shape. Just like if with the cats, you could make multicolored cats. But to make the egg would be to have the stripes and then the outline of the egg would be around it. So especially if you're working with children, it's a really easy way. They just lay down the stripes and then they put the oval shape on top. So the inside is what's shown. So same thing with the cats. We could layer up different rainbow stripe, different patterns and put the pattern behind the
Oh, that's
cats.
neat. Yeah.
They might look nice with these blues and greens, maybe if we did something
Okay,
like
I'm
that.
definitely going to put one of these cats in my husband's Easter basket.
Great, wonderful.
Awesome. Totally
Very
crazy.
good.
With
So
the
then you
egg.
can just add a nice greeting or a message on a tag like this, and then that's all you need to decorate a little box or something. I hope you'll have fun playing with the scraps. I hope you see the value in them. I know that people who like libraries also usually like to be conservative with and use our resources wisely and reduce, reuse, recycle. And so it's fun sometimes. I hope that's fun for you to just have some extra pieces. And if it's not something that you enjoy, if it's not a designed project, if it's not so much fun for you to just play with the little pieces, maybe you can find a friend or a neighbor who would enjoy, an envelope full of those pieces. It's really amazing what you can do even with small things. Look at that, Julia, looks beautiful.
Can I show off what I made?
Please do, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here we've got, it's a little envelope with letters or visits when friends are apart.
Oh, very
You
nice.
slide that off and you
Yeah.
open it up and there's a little bunny rabbit.
Oh, hooray,
Oh,
very
I
good.
like that.
Because I used the envelope the wrong way, you have to go all the way down in. to get
Oh, okay.
the tea bag.
Well, that means it's nice and secure.
Yeah. So I
Very good.
put the envelope the wrong way, so you have to put it in the end that closes.
I think that actually is more secure, especially if you're putting cash in there. That's a good idea.
That's true, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I thank everybody for taking part and being with me tonight. It's fun to play together. I'm looking forward to Easter time and springtime and more gatherings. I invite you to be a part of our library class tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Your $20 fee will include a full kit, either the citrus kit with some really happy greetings and cheerful colors, or other kits that I have available. I have a variety of some fun past paper pumpkin kits. Does anybody have any questions before we say goodnight?
Nope, but I just want to add that this month's paper pumpkin with the extra stamp set was wonderful.
Wasn't it terrific, Mary? Mary's a new subscriber to Paper Pumpkin. I'm so delighted. And I don't have those for this month, but I may have them in coming months. Sometimes I'm able to get extra ones. So you'll have to share the praise for that, and maybe we'll be able to get some more for your friends.
There are so many new videos of different ways to use the stuff that came in that kit.
Indeed.
Incredible.
Yes, if you enjoy Facebook groups, the group called Paper Pumpkin Fan Club is a wonderful resource. You don't have to be a Paper Pumpkin subscriber to join that Facebook group, but there are just so many great ideas for either using the kits or creating the alternative projects. So that's a good one, Mary, to check out.
Thank you. I'll do that.
Terrific. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your cup of tea, or think of who you might want to share your cup of tea with over the next week or so. And remember that we want to share hope and peace with the world. So be recognizing in April that we're having a National Month of Hope. Thanks, everybody, for taking part. I look forward to seeing you next month for our Thursday evening class, and especially welcome those of you who can come tomorrow at 10. Thank you,
Awesome.
Julia.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.